park since at least 1934. So obviously the local campaigners wanted to obtain a deed of dedication for Springfield Park as a field in trust when the contested link road was withdrawn from it in order to protect it in perpetuity as a green space. Obviously they were told that the park is protected and they shouldn't worry, but I think this does set out that it's a trust issue for local residents. You can understand that there have been concerns, and so yeah, they would like to protect the park in the way that they would like to, so that road building, etc., can't be put through it in future.
Harrogate Hill and Winfield will feel badly let down. The report is a narrow and passive response to the council motion passed, can I remind Councillor Marshall, unanimously in November. That resolution asked Cabinet to consider how estate roads could be protected from becoming overwhelmed by traffic to and from Skerningham. And all this Cabinet can do is wash its hands of a problem solely of its making. When Cabinet resolved last year to remove the Springfield Link Road from its Skerningham plans, it had a duty to show how traffic would be managed without it. Remember, 80% of the Skerningham site is landlocked, and the Springfield Link Road was designed to take much of that traffic. To make the numbers even begin to add up, officers had to draw new and unlikely lines on the map as alternatives to the Ashbrook estate, to Sparrowhall Drive, to a new road sitting cheek by jowl with Caithness Way and Galloway, and with even more traffic loaded onto Barmpton Lane. Those weren't the actions of the last Labour administration, Councillor Marshall. They were the result of your administration. So this report was an opportunity for Cabinet to face up to its responsibilities. At the moment, we seem to have a local plan that is silent on highway access to and from Skerningham. Where is the narrative on how the highway's needs in a phased release of land across Skerningham will be met? How will these relate to the master plan, Councillor Marshall? How will those roads relate to the various land ownerships across the area? By spurning the chance to use this report to begin to address these issues and keeping its head firmly stuck in the sand, Cabinet is ducking its leadership and planning role. Be in no doubt what the result will be. If Skerningham is approved by the inspector, we will likely see a scramble by developers to use wholly unsuitable estate roads to access their sites. And far from a high-quality garden village, Skerningham will become a hodgepodge of opportunist, bog-standard mini-housing estates across the north of the town. Your comments at the top of this item, Councillor Marshall, were a classic example of playing the man and not playing the ball. You have important policy responsibilities to the people of this town through the local plan process. And I have to say to both you and to Councillor Scott that if you think you've pulled off a clever ruse and have closed this issue off, then you're sorely mistaken. Residents have woken up to the confused muddle at the heart of this Cabinet's thinking on Skerningham. They won't relent until they've received some proper answers and leadership from this local authority. Thank you, Chair.
And any record of him ever objecting to the 6 potential access routes to the proposed Skerningham development, which was shown in the previous iteration of the draft local plan drawn up under the Labour administration, including the route on the eastern edge of Springfield Park, which this administration removed. You claim, Councillor Wallace, that you have become involved in this matter due to the worry and stress this issue is having on residents of the roads in question. Well, Councillor Wallace, if you cared so much about these residents, you would have acted on their behalf when you were in a position of authority and influence within the Cabinet. You clearly failed to do so. The fact is, Councillor Wallace, from my perspective, you don't care less about the residents of Winfield. If you did, you would have acted when you had the opportunity to do so. What you do care about is using residents and their genuine concerns regarding the potential increase in traffic and where it is rooted as pawns in your political machinations to attract their votes, no more, no less. By preying on residents' concerns for your own political ends, demonstrates to me the depths to which you will sink to get back control of this council. Your actions in this matter, Councillor Wallace, are a disgrace. Moving on to the report, I would like to just say the purpose of this report is to consider a motion from Council regarding access from the Skerningham development to the highway network and the integrity of Green Lane. The highway law dictates that roads and public highways, there is in general no limit to the additional use of those highways, and any restrictions of use must be found by convincing highways evidence. There are no detailed planning applications submitted to the council for the council to consider at this stage. Therefore, officers would advise that Cabinet is not in a position to be able legitimately substantiate any restrictions to the public highway at these points. At this point in time, members should also note that any attempt to impose restrictions to the public highway ahead of due consideration of evidence via a planning application would not be a material consideration in considering that planning application.
Members and yourself, Leader, say that nothing will be built on it, and at the same time saying something will be built on it.
No.
I think you don't appreciate that some residents consider even the roundabout going onto Springfield Park being counted as building on Springfield Park. Some residents don't want any of it touched at all, and they're not just talking about housing, but take exception to a roundabout encroaching on it. And I think Councillor Kerr has just talked at great length about the fact that there is a need for that roundabout. Separate discussion, but he's clearly saying that in his view, that roundabout needs to go ahead. And if it does go ahead, that will require some part of Springfield Park being built upon. And the point I'm really making is that for some residents, that's what they would include as building on Springfield Park, and would argue very strongly that they don't even want a small part of a roundabout incursing onto Springfield Park, let alone housing. So I think it is quite clear that in not pushing forward this deed of dedication, that it is quite obvious, and the report itself says is that at some point in the near future you will build on a part of it, even if, in your view, it is only a small part for a roundabout. And I do stress for some residents that is too much.
Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Haskell, I think you're right. I think there are some people who would balk at you know, a small portion of that corner going. I think when you do go up past, you see where the boulders are that are there to prevent the travelling people going on. I don't think it's that much, to be frank about it. I don't think it incurs that much, and I haven't seen any detailed plans. The plan I did see did show up there, and I think that's something as we go through the planning process, that would be something that we could, you know, that people can then raise and pick up as that the roundabout goes through. And it's not my view that we need the roundabout. It's the officers and the officers modelling that says that the roundabout has to go. But I accept your point that there'll be some residents who are saying that you know, that portion of the park shouldn't be endangered. But I think that portion of the park, when you see where the boulders that are up there to stop the travelling people going on, etc., I think I don't think it's going to be that much. And I think, you know, once the benefits of the roundabout are shown to everybody throughout the borough, I think most people would agree that that roundabout definitely needs to be upgraded to a level whereby traffic can flow reasonably. We don't have cars sitting idling. You get better air quality and you get better throughput. So that's where I would take it on there. Thank you. A few of them, and one of the results would be that we would refuse the deed of dedication anyways, because you know that there's work to be done in a roundabout, and we could not accept a deed of dedication because of the roundabout in this instance. Now, going forward, whether we need a dedication or no, I don't think we do. I think there are adequate protections there in the fact that it's green space, and the council owns the land and the council will not build on there. So that.
Thank you, Chair. I take on board many of the points said already. I think Councillor Keir put his finger on it quite accurate there about the not wanting to put the bulldozers in. Councillor Mrs. Scott said that as well. But there's work to do on Thompson Street. Well, just I don't want to remind you something you already know, I'm sure, that paragraph 6 gives you the option of going for B. Option 6B is that this cabinet could approve that a deed of dedication is progressed with consideration of the Thompson Street improvements. It won't make everyone happy, but it will definitely call Councillor Wallace's bluff, maybe. So there we are. There's an option to Cabinet now to approve 6B. Just a suggestion.
Thank you, Councillor.